Well, the worst has happened. People deluded. I'm back again. Big up you lot. Now, our season's been one of many things, man. You know what? First things first, big up you lot tuned in. Honestly, I don't even know why I'm live, really and truly, but the show must go on. Big up you lot on Twitch, big up you lot on YouTube. Now, as I was saying, smash the like button and big up you lot on the replay. It's a weird season, man. I think it's one of slight deflection. I think it's one of reflection. I think it's one of stagnation. I think it's one of complacency. I do think it reeks as unfairness to the players and the fans. And I just think it's one where we didn't learn our lessons, you know, especially on the injury front. Of course, there is a wider discussion in which we're going to indirectly cover, in relation to player welfare, not just for Arsenal, but every damn footballer that's more than likely going to play for play at club and country level. Really, there's a lot of games where it's concerned. The fixture, the big cats that control the footballing world, they don't care. All they care about is coin. There's going to be expanded competitions, as we're seeing for club and country, and the best players are going to get very little rest. And between that and the game cup becoming more system-based and PMP and athleticism, the product, which I hate to refer to football as a business or as a product, is quite horrible. Now, for Arsenal, everything that's happened this season is not something new. Unfortunately, it's another season where we have, we have to stand up and fight where the Champions League is concerned. And it's probably 100% delusion, because even with our strongest team, Real Madrid is a tougher test, much like the current landscape. You're going to be without Gabriel Magalhaes, who is one player you'd give everything to make sure he's there, right? But what I mean by that is we've got a lot of experience. A wise man or woman doesn't necessarily have to learn through making their own mistakes. Sometimes you can learn for others. What I mean by that is, and I know no two teams, no two seasons, no two situations are the same, but if we look at it in a rather kind of simplistic tone, people, if we had to look at it in a simplistic tone, we've seen Liverpool season fall off a cliff with injuries. We've seen with City what could happen with Rodri. For Mikel Arteta, and again, it's not just a Mikel Arteta thing. When I'm speaking about the club, so that is the recruitment staff, whether you're Edu, Jason Ito, those around, the controllables that Mikel Arteta can control, Kroenke, etc. In the same way we win together, we have to lose together. So yeah, I think we could have learned from Liverpool. We've seen what happened when City lost Rodri. We saw what happened ourselves, what happened when we missed Saliba in 2022-23. Everybody forgets, yes, we had a clean run with injuries last season, but we still were without Timber, Tomiyasu, and Partey. Squad depth. We need quality. We need quantity. We've been crying about strikers. Big up Mikel Merino for doing this thing. It's a bit funny how two left eights have ended up being forwards, but we've known we've needed quality up front to supplement Saka, even when he is fit. We know we need to learn to break down low blocks. We've missed Odegaard in terms of form, but also his injury. We knew, all the things about if Saka gets injured, if Ben White gets injured, this, that, and the other. We've indirectly run our players into the ground, if I'm honest with you, because we've got a small squad. Mikel Arteta, he has to soldier the blame, and nobody put a gun to his head to take the job. But at the same time, at the end of the day, he's not a damsel in distress, and he took the job. He has said 3 times last season that we had a squad of 19. Probably extend that to 21 or so now with Lewis Skelly and Nwaneri, right? But we haven't learned our lessons, and we've known this. We've known that when you don't have the depth that's required, the more durable players, so that is the Sakas, that is the Martinellis, that is the Kai Havertzes, and any of them kind of ones, they're going to get hamstring injuries. Anyone can get injured at any time. But I do think we failed ourselves. Yes, you could look at it from a money point of view. We got good fees for Ramsdale. Maybe if we were better at selling more, but Ramsdale and Nketiah, Smith Rowe, Fabio Vieira departed on loan. These guys, for one reason or another, they needed to move on. And I don't think we're necessarily crying about the amount of push Smith Rowe, but that's all emotional. The problem is we didn't bring in level raisers where you look at the recruitments. Calafiori could be that in time. Right now, you're being kept out by an academy prospect where if you go and read reports as far as the summer, we're saying that he's training as a left back, etc. Mikel Merino's doing his thing. I think he's a good ceiling floor raiser, but he doesn't raise the ceiling. The less said about Neto and Sterling, the better. We know what we didn't do in the summer. We know what we didn't do in January, and we let players go without necessarily bringing bodies in. Bearing in mind, this is our second season in the Champions League. We aspire to be a team competing in forefront. For me, a squad of 19, which Arteta keeps saying, for 4 trophies, everybody shares the blame in, and I think throughout streams and whatnot, I've said these same things. We haven't done anything about that. If nothing changes, nothing changes. The only thing I would say, I can't say Arteta he's not in control of all the transfers and getting deals over the line. He does have to shoulder some blame. What I would say in terms of his controllables, I'm not like many fans in the sense that I don't necessarily cry about the rotation, because I understand, and there has to be a correlation with the same players building relationships on the pitch, getting results, getting us to this level. And neither am I. So yeah, I don't really cry about that. But we need the depth. And there has been times, and I'm not a physio, I'm not Mikel Arteta, but there's been times where Gabriel Magalhaes were 7-1 up against PSV. Can you save him with a 10 minutes or 20 minutes here and there? The same goes for several players. Now, that might not be the much on the face of it, but if you do that in certain amount of games, in terms of the minutes added, 30 minutes here, 20 minutes here, 10 here, 5 there, you've probably in total saved them from a 90-minute game. So I do think Arteta has to learn to rotate, trust other members of the squad, whether they're here or not. And if he doesn't trust them, go and get a bigger squad. And we all know Arteta said, be excited in terms of the summer. We want to improve the quality and the depth. And that was encouraging to hear from the manager. But for Mikel Arteta, for Berta, for all of the people around them, you need to just do it now for me. We need quality into the 11. We obviously need a bigger squad. And I do think when you look at a lot of content and you look at a lot of, stuff, they got to grab headlines in it. So I think all of this talk about rebuild and stuff per se is a bit wide of the mark. But at the same time, I have to caveat that with, if we were to go through our squad right now, we know not everyone's going to leave. Some people have to stay. You have to, there's many reasons. We're not going to flush out all the players that are probably past their sell-by date and bring them in, bring like for like in all in one window, right? But when you look through the majority of the squad, how many of the players would you say are untouchable? They don't necessarily have to be world class, etc. And again, everyone's got a price. Certain players I would describe as untouchable as well. Probably, everyone's got a price in it. I wouldn't sell Gabriel Magalhaes necessarily for 100 million, but I reckon the club do. And admittedly, there's a conversation to be had, especially because many years ago his head was kind of turned and etc. etc. But I describe Gabriel Magalhaes as unsellable, Saliba as unsellable, David Raya at the moment as one unsellable, Timber, Lewis Kelly, Wanyeri, Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice. I might have missed one or two names out, but beyond that, there's not too many in it. And that is the core of our side. But then when you start to look at everyone else for a variety of reasons, Kieran Tierney's gone, Jorginho's gone, on paper, Partey's gone, Gabriel Jesus isn't gone, but many people probably want to see him gone because we know where we're at with that. You would take an offer for Kai. I'm not saying everyone needs to leave, but you get the point. So there's more players we'd rather keep than sell. So I don't think it's necessarily a rebuild, but you can't argue against this a rebuild. And I just feel in the summer, beyond what we need to do on the recruitment front, I think it's time for fresh ideas. I think Mikel Arteta, you've hit a glass ceiling. And in life, you see when you got a goal and an ambition and aspiration and you're showing promise, which Arteta has. And this ain't no Arteta sexual thing saying he's great, but the man showed potential, just like in life. And I feel like this in my personal life or professional life. See, when you get to a ceiling, yeah, and once you bust that ceiling, you're gone. Like you're gone clear. That's either at Arsenal or elsewhere. But you see the strength. So the strength being, reinventing yourself, thinking about what got you here and pushing yourself. You see, once you bust that door, you're gone clear. But I think that's where Arteta is at. I do think, injuries and all that stuff has played a part. But I do think you've got a distinctive brand of football. Whatever people have to say, we're ultimately dying by the high standards that getting back to Arsenal, resetting those high standards that Arsenal have and what Arteta has done at the moment. And a lot of things we're criticizing is because of this distinctive brand. Do I think Arsenal's football is attractive? Do I think it's sexier? Would I like to see it? No, I don't. Do I think the ball needs to be moved a bit quicker? 100%. Do I think we're a bit predictable? But that same predictable football, give or take, has got us to this point. And I big up the manager and all of that, because he clearly is somewhat proud, because I don't know if it's mind games or it's trying to rile up the team, but he keeps talking about, bearing in mind, I was at the Arsenal versus Fulham press conference. Any opportunity, he keeps mentioning the fact that other teams would have fallen away if we finished, if they had what we had and we're second. That's great, but and I think that's true. But beyond that, what does that mean? That doesn't mean much for our Premier League season. That doesn't mean much for achieving the goals that I'm sure him and the players set in May, getting over the line in the Premier League, getting through to the latter stage of the Champions League, which is still happening, bringing a domestic trophy home where, let's be honest, one of the lowest points of the season, apart from the obvious and Bukayo Saka getting injured, probably would have been going out of 2 competitions in a week, essentially, especially the United game, because we should still be in the FA Cup. Now, I'd rather be in this scenario, but could you imagine the injuries and all of this sort of stuff with the squad we have at this moment in time, and we were still in the FA Cup? We just won a League Cup trophy. The Premier League race, well, it's not even a race. It was still neck and neck, and every game's to kind of, which every game is to play for in the Premier League. But if it was still all to play for, kind of thing where it'd be, that's the scenario I want. So I want Mikel Arteta and everyone to take heed. This season, it is what it is. I'm not on this next season we go again thing, but The manager's not getting sacked, whether you want him gone or not. This is what we're doing it. So now the building blocks need to be played for next season. We need to stop having these kind of scenarios. And I've personally said it before. For me, obviously, I'm sure the player injuries happen in it. It's part and parcel. And I can't sit here and say it's mad predictable because I'm not a physio. But I do think where you look at the amount of minutes, forget this season for a sec, the past few seasons, with having a small squad, the amount of football that Saka's had without rest. And again, I'm not one of those crying about rest, but him without rest, Saka without rest, Kai Havertz without rest, Martinelli without rest, for club and country. You're quite nervous for Saliba and Declan Rice, if I'm honest, because there's got to be something in the amount of hamstring injuries we've kind of had. And it's not like we're stupid, us as fans, and it's not like we're stupid as a club. We knew this. And whatever, I'm sure they tried and whatever, but like on the pitch, you can try to win. Whether you win, lose, or draw, people lose jobs. People are praised and critiqued fairly. I also have to look at the other side of it and the cold hard facts of what we did or didn't do. We did not do what needed to be done in the summer. It's neither here nor there whether it's Arteta Edu, this one, that one. The same goes for January. And it was very nice. I refuse to believe the club is that incompetent to see what we're seeing and seeing what we're seeing as fans and think that they're not going to act. To which, if I know you're smart enough and you haven't done it, why didn't you do it? Yeah, powder dry for the summer, etc. Arteta has a lot of question marks. I think you're shooting yourself in the foot. I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot as a club. And it makes me look at those above the players, really and truly, in that January, who's only hearing talks about trying not when Saka got injured, when Gabriel Jesus got injured. So imagine Gabriel Jesus stayed fit and that purple patch ran out. We were offered Ollie Watkins. We didn't go over there and try to buy him. We was offered it to us. We needed a striker. Aston Villa tried to get rid of Ollie Watkins before John Duran. Either way, they're living. And I'm not sitting here and saying I want Kula Mawani or Rashford or any of that, but we was desperate in January. And one does wonder, what could we have done? We didn't do anything in terms of a Premier League loan, make Neto's move permanent. I don't know, be third choice. We didn't get a foreign loan. We didn't do anything. And it would have been very courageous. And we can do all that fighting talk about standing up to be counted. And all of that's true because it is what it is. But this ain't the movies, bro. This ain't Mighty Ducks. This ain't one of those. Well, it is like Mighty Ducks. It's glorious losers sort of stuff. And going into the Madrid game, I think it's unfair on the players. And I think it's unfair on the fans. In the climate we're going in, we're losing, we're going, and these things happen. And yeah, you could talk about 2006, we had all the injuries and all that, and that's true. But come on, those of you that are old enough, it's too late for me to even do that. Come on now, come on. I'm not saying be defeated because regardless, I'm the sort of person in my life. I look at what's in front of my eyes. I see all the negatives. I see all the reasons not to fight, and you just got to think of the one reason. And the one reason is they bleed just like us. We're crying about, and I'm not saying to look to the past, but these is first world problems. Remember back to back 8th. And all of those things. We've got to a point now as a football club where we've got a brand of football, but it needs to evolve. We need to move the ball a bit quicker and faster. We need to start answering questions. Who is locking down that left 8 if it isn't Declan Rice? Because the lazy view, but there is somewhat truth in it. Have we replaced Granit Xhaka? Have we replaced Aubameyang? Respectfully to Kai Havertz, because it's nothing to do with him necessarily, but his absence is far too felt up front. Look at what we're doing with the greatest of respect to Moreno, who isolated to what he can control. All he can do is go out there and do his best. For whatever you say about his signing, he's doing that. But we're in our third year fighting for a trophy and being recognized as one of the best teams in the Premier. You've got your new signing who's a central midfielder playing up front. You're relying on a half-fit Saka as good as he looked. You're relying on 2 young players. Don't know who the hell is going to play in defense against Everton away, let alone Real Madrid. And we've got no choice, but we've shot ourselves in the foot. As I said, I described this season as, let's just imagine we looked at a news article. It says it's going to rain. We're in shorts and a t-shirt. We're standing outside our front door. We're enjoying the weather. We start to feel the wind. And again, consider this like as the weather progresses, like from August to where we are kind of thing right now. We're standing there, sunny, we're enjoying our life, we're drinking a beer, some of you, all of that kind of stuff. It starts to get a bit chilly. We don't put on a jacket. The sun starts to slowly go away, but it's still somewhat warm. We're still not reacting. You start to hear thunder, you start to hit sea clouds, still not reacting. Eventually, there's light dribble, still not reacting. The drizzle starts to get a bit stronger, still not reacting. Pissing down now, still not reacting. Pissing down, hailstones, thunder, lightning, beer things are going on now. Now we're like, oh my God, we need to get an umbrella or we need to do so. It's too late. And this season has to, if there is, and naturally, they're human beings as a whole club. Naturally, rightly or wrongly, there's going to be an element of complacency based on the last 2 seasons. But you let the fans down in the summer, and what's played out now, we've all collectively as a club let ourselves down, because it's another missed opportunity. It's another one of explaining. It's one where, what if in the FA Cup? If in the Premier League? Yeah, there's been injuries and whatnot, but I feel for Arteta himself, game management, even the other day against Fulham, it reminded me, being at the game, yeah, kind of like the Zinchenko thing at Anfield, in that you could see Lewis Skelly was shattered. And I wonder what his fitness is like going into the Everton away game. We're absolutely shattered. We were cracked. We're knackered. Didn't take him off until didn't take him off. That's the kind of stuff, being slightly cute and clever with rotation, changing tactics. Arteta, one thing I like, if we're playing on Saturday, I have no doubt you've planned for Everton. But you see, if there's a spanner in our works, you kind of die on your sword in a good way, because you can't have it both ways. You can't. Every team that's done everything, you're going to be, in a positive and negative way, predictable. We know what Barcelona was going to do. You just couldn't stop it. You know what the Invincibles, the Man United, the City sides were on. They're just an element of they'll find a way. And I think we're ultimately shooting ourselves in the foot. I said it last season. I said it the season before, and I'll say it this year. Before I look at how good Liverpool were, no shade, and City before, I feel there's many, I would spend a good time looking internally, because I think in life and like football, yeah, ultimately you're going to lose games. If we lost to Liverpool, which is no fault of their own, if we lost the league to Liverpool, if we lose any game, as long as these players can sit there and say, you know, I gave everything, I've proper got no regrets, we've exhausted all our options, fair enough. But in light with these injuries, like, bad luck doesn't only go so far. We have to soldier some responsibility, whether the players in the rehab, whether it's strength and conditioning, whether it's a small squad, more games, relying on certain man, even someone like Timber, another player in line with a player of the season shout, an ACL. Played a lot more football, I guarantee you, and I'm happy to see him, because it feels like football moves very fast, like life. Just the other day, I remember you having to come off the pitch in your debut season, and Lord knows how good you would have shown yourself last season. Maybe we would have got 2 extra points, who knows? But I'm pretty sure if you ask Timber, if you ask Arteta, if you ask everybody in around, I bet you Timber's played more football than they would have liked. And even when you look in our 19-man squad, again, anyone can get injuries. But if we sat there in August, this season's been an exception to the rule. You probably expect, if we all were told we're going to have X amount of injuries and whatnot, you'd expect Partey to be there. You'd expect Tommy to be there. You'd expect Zinni to pick up injuries. You'd expect Jorginho. You'd expect the predictable ones. Calafiori, probably not, because we just signed him. In hindsight, maybe there was something there. And keep buying some dodgy fullbacks, man. Like, everybody needs to get out of any complacency that they have at this club. We need to take what we're good at, top 6 record, all of that, next level now. It's not good enough to be good. We want to be great. Greatness is what's going to tie us over the line. And you might say that's harsh and whatnot. What's more harsh than how you lot are going to feel in May? What's more harsh than the current landscape we're talking about now? Everything I say is for the love of the club. You know, you think I want to say this, and don't even think I'm necessarily being negative. This is just the obvious. This is the obvious. There's so much Arteta needs to arrest off his own back. There's so much this club has to happen. And I think Berta will kind of do that. But again, I can't expect him to change everything that needs to be changed in a matter of months. Quality and quantity and quantity and quality, they overlap in it. And it's a very kind of delicate one heading into the summer. But we need at least 3 quality players in the immediate starting 11. And I don't care how you do it, if that means whether he stays, if that's the Trossards, the Martinellis, the Kais, they're part of the squad now, or, you know, whatever we need to, or you bring in additional signings. I don't know, because the vast majority of this squad has been here for a while. It's now time for fresh kind of things. Take the set pieces, take all the good things and just make it great. A big reason as to why we're at where we're at now. I just think we need to tune up the players and actually the manager in terms of game management, because it's a case of, for the vast majority of the season, we're good, you know. For the vast majority of the season, we're actually good. But it's the small margins the manager talks about, like Premier League. And again, you're not gonna win all the games. You're gonna have some shit days at the office. Sometimes not big up Chelsea, but they beat Spurs. That's lovely. Everywhere they go. But there's gonna be, we know what a football game is over a 38 game period. You know what time it is. You're going to lose when you deserve to win. You're going to win when you don't deserve to lose. You're going to draw when you deserve a bit more or less. 9 times out of 10, you're going to get what you deserve. And we haven't maximized the controllables. Not throwing no shade. Liverpool are a big team. But are they 12, 13, 14, 15? Typically has been the case, points better than us? Probably not. Their fans would say that if we're talking real football and stop doing all the banter. but on paper they are. Why is that? It can't all be because of referees and this and that. It's very simple to look at football like that. Even if there's a 30-second incident from any player, whether it's a player we like or don't like, of course it's going to impact the game. But then you need to look at, for the other majority of that game, did you do enough? And if we just look at the table, like, come on, man. It's April. This is squeaky bum time, as sorry, definitely not Arteta, as Ferguson said. We haven't done what's needed to be done. We've let ourselves down. We're good for the majority of the season. Like, this has been it has been our shittish year of the 3 previous years. And we've still won 17. It's the draws. The draws are one thing. And like, again, we're not that, the devil's in the details. We've got 10 draws to Liverpool 7. We've got 3 losses to their 1. It is one of those seasons of could have, would have, should have, and what if we had the depth? What if we had the level raises? What if these injuries never took place? What if we held on to the lead against Aston Villa? There's many things that were prevalent last season that are still here. And as I always say, if nothing changes, unfortunately in this life, nothing changes. But yeah, I've covered this before. You would have seen, well, if you was at the game or watching the game, wherever, you would have seen Gabriel Magalhaes was subbed off, hamstring injury, we was all shook, and he requires surgery. So that's him and Havertz probably back for the start of pre-season. But it's a bitter pill to swallow for Magalhaes, man, because if anybody deserved to be at the Bernabeu, it was you, because you've been one of it's a mad game, really. But this season's also been a theme of unlikely goal scorers, quote unquote, even though anyone that's had him in their FPL for a few years, he chips in. But we need Gabriel Magalhaes in both ends. And for me, beyond the obvious of missing him and the quality and his standard in football and how we would feel, there's no, respectfully, I don't think there's a leader in the defense. Anyone that's played Sunday League, there's always that one, typically a centre back that's, oi, drop, tuck in. What are you doing that for? Good tackle, blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying that other players don't do that. I don't believe in Kivio. But at the end of the day, you play for my club. You're going out there. You have all the faith in the world. I badly want you to prove me wrong. I want you to stick in a positive way 2 middle fingers up at Mikel Arteta. I've been here all season. You've not been playing me. And if that's not the case, put yourself into the shop window. And I have all the faith in Lewis Kelly. He needs to fine-tune himself defensively. But if we cut the crap and the emotions and being negative or positive, and we just look at Real Madrid, who are not in their best state, and we're talking about fine margins, and we're relating it back to football, that's a young lad out there. And anyone that understands football, you got your left back, you got your centre half. You've almost got 3 sub teams in the starting 11, and then you've got like the other kind of, well, yeah, you got 3 mini teams, and then you got like sub teams, the right centre back and the right centre back and the fullback, the right back and the centre mid. The centre mid actually, like on the right hand side with Saliba. You get where I'm going with that. Kivio is going to have to coach Lewis Kelly throughout that game, in the same way Gabriel Magalhaes would at times. Yeah, go forward now, drop. We doing. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be the other way around. I like Saliba and I think he's got leadership qualities, but in terms of that from Magalhaes, we haven't seen that from Saliba for club and country. He's going to have to do that. And I think Benjamin White and Timber will be there, but they're not in their best run. They're not in their best kind of physical form, which we should kind of be thinking about going into the Real Madrid game. In a weird way, it should be in an ideal world, it's a semi-rotated side going into in an ideal world, us versus Liverpool. There's not much of a points gap. We're going into the Goodison Park game against David Moyes has turned their form around. They were very unlucky to lose against Liverpool, wanting to win, but with a slightly more rotated squad. And what I meant by that is if we had the ideal depth, I'm tweaking with this, but Isaac might play for our football club today. Even though I said it's a must win and I'm a hypocrite, Kai Havertz might start in that. Gabriel Magalhaes might start. Then obviously, if it goes the way we need it to, 60th minute, you might pull off Saka and this and that. That's the realm we need to get into. We are shooting ourselves in the foot, and we'll huff and puff and do well for the season. But the 1-2 times we don't do what needs to be done, we get seasons like this. And I do think there's been a couple of times, I think, beyond the obvious, Newcastle away in the League and Cup, there's been a couple of times where it's not an excuse. There's many other talking points. And if you watch my reviews from like the draws and the losses, you hear me say it. But there sometimes has been an element of us looking fatigued. And that comes with, obviously, we've run our players into the ground. It's sad, man. It's sad after coming 2 points off City. It's sad. Like, whatever way you shape it, people can throw shade at Liverpool or City. I'd say Arsenal have been deserving of it. We deserved it. We'd have that. And I think at this moment in time, we've had 46 games. Now, again, I said I'm not one of them that waffles about rest and all of that. I think us fans do a bit too much of that. But there is an element of truth in such. Smash the like button. We've played 46 games. Raya's played in 44. Forget the goalie. Like, we're not even stressed. Even though Raya had a little knock and wasn't on the bench in the Champions League once, even though sometimes I think Arteta's capped a bit with that. Ramsdale was in the squad for 2 games. You see how fast football moves, and we're not done yet. But yeah, Neto safe. Porter, well done. We'll forget the goalies. We'll be being silly. But and again, the best player is always going to play. But 46 games. Saliba's was in the squad for 40 of those. Yeah, I think he was suspended. Magalhaes has been in 42 times, not been afforded any rest. Crazy amount of minutes. Now, I'm no mathematical man and all of that, but 3,000. And again, you got to remember last season and seasons, and some of these players play all the games for club and country, and that's not going to stop going into next season where we've got the World Cup. But look at their games. Look at the games. Gabriel's played 40 plus times. Saliba's played 40 plus times. And again, in one thing for Arteta's defense is whether it's right or wrong from him, we're in that kind of damned if you do, damned if we don't, because we're selling and not necessarily replacing. We're not building on the quality. Obviously, Arteta clearly doesn't trust all of his players. Of course, some man are squad players or whatever. You look at the minutes played, and it's been known. We know who Arteta trusts and doesn't trust, whether it's because of ability or changing team dynamics. The drop-off is mad. Respectfully, I know you can't have like-for-like quality with Gabriel, Magalhaes, and Kivior, but Gabriel Magalhaes might be here. Can we get someone that's there? Now, I'm being a bit disingenuous to Kivior, but Gabriel Magalhaes is here. He's down there. And they're polar opposites. Gabriel's ferocious. He's a beast. Kivior's a bit of a pussycat. Respectfully to him, I've got to be honest. You're very introverted. I don't know you. You could be with your people, you could be the loudest. You could be controlling the DJ music at the Emirates, full I know. But to me as a fan, that obviously, I care about the little intricacies and all of those things, which is reflected on my channel, but also I don't. And it's not my job to care. It's not my job to know who's doing whatever in the dressing room. I just need to see you lot talking and doing on the pitch. So this is why we're at now. Obviously, Ben White, we've been owed a lengthy layoff from him. You've all watched Rob Holding's documentaries from one day where he's put his knee on the line for this club, hamstring on the line for the club. And just a general point away from Arsenal. It's things like this that annoy me when people say the players don't care. Don't get it twisted. There's been moments where I feel players don't care. I've definitely seen teams where it don't, but not these ones. Not these ones. Every one of these players fucking care. And they've got to take responsibility for how the season's played out as well. They've been the ones playing. But I've said it before and I'll say it again, if there's anyone I feel sorry for, it's these fucking players. It's these fucking players because they are the closest thing to the fans. They've definitely got to be in the change room like what's going on. But yeah, bare games. Timber, 41 appearances. Spartan, but come on. To be fair, I think we've seen Calafiori a lot. I need to zoom out a bit. I actually think we've seen Calafiori a lot more than I thought as well, people. Let me make sure I got the right box. Calafiori's played 26 times, which again, he's had bare injuries. But still, Lewis Skelly, big him up. Barbados in the house, big up the Bajans. Mad in it. Tommy Asu's only played 6 minutes. Kivio, respectfully, 18 minutes, not rated. Zinni, 17, not rated like that. Teeny by default. Well, the maddest thing is, yeah, at the end of the day, Chido, Be Martin, and Heaven, they've played for Man United, didn't it? Like, and they look like they're going to be involved, especially Heaven. You played in a big European game. But if they just showed a bit more patience, or maybe if the club gassed them up a bit more, you know what? I know you're young. Heaven, you could have been in with a shout, you know? You could have been in with a shout. Rice, bitter games. And it's going to happen. You're going to pay your key players. Odegaard, injury hit season, still a lot of games. Marino, obviously, because of the injuries, now he's been starting, but he's had knocks. Partey's played 43 times. It's just a shame that your contract's running out and it's the last year of your deal, because how typical would it be to give Partey a new deal and he reverts back to type next season? Not that I think that's the case. I think they're just going to bite the bullet, go on, you're safe. And it'll be interesting because whatever way we shape it about Partey, Arteta loves you. Because other players you could argue other players that had this level of injury, they're still in the squad. But I don't think Arteta and the club persist with you. Arteta loves him to the point where he's playing right back. So I'm keen to see who that replacement is, how we replace him. Do we get 2 midfielders? Do we get one? Because I like Zubimendi, I like Rice. I just think, and Marino as well. I think we need another kind of physical one. And when you look at it, Partey, of the guys that play in the pivot, obviously I can't talk on Zubimendi and Nico Williams and Gyokeres and this one and that one too much because they're not at the club. But when you look at Mikel Merino, Declan Rice, Jorginho, who's also leaving, Partey, who's probably the more all-rounded of all of them? In terms of, I think the best baller that I gave them all balls, probably Jorginho. Like in all of that stuff, you just wish Jorginho was about 10 years younger and had a tiny bit more pace. He ain't really that. There's the Jorginho of today. Certain games that we can flex and move with you. Partey's probably like a unicorn. He can do a bit of everything. Probably the most all-rounded of our midfielders. Rice giving a good go in the 8, and we like Declan, but he can't do certain things that Partey do. And who else did I miss? Mikel Merino. I think you've been given a tough time. Probably a bit more timid than I thought, but yeah, it's mad. And then when you look in our squad, there's question marks over a lot of these players, especially the hamstring injuries. Proud of Wanyeri and Lewis Skelly, to be brutally honest, man. Trossard, again, future subject to speculation. Even that, some of the players that have played a lot, there's future speculation over their futures. Whether you look at it on paper and say, yeah, they're under contract or they're injured or this one or that one, it does feel like, I think Arteta needs to extend new ideas, bring new ideas. And if this is said, if we're having this conversation next season, maybe you need new ideas in a different format, but he needs new ideas. It just needs something fresh. It needs a little spark, man. Like the candle has shined bright to a degree for the last 2 years. It's got a bit dim. It's on its last leg. We need to get another match. There needs to be new life in terms of recruitment and ideas and how we're going about things. That will finally get us over the line. Crazy, man. And you know, Gabriel's injury is the 119th hamstring injury in the Premier League so far this season, an average of 4 injuries to the muscle each round of the games. Now, as I said, there's a deeper conversation, not just in the Premier League, but football in general, about player welfare and the amount of games. But everybody here and their nan and their dog, no, they're not going to change that. They don't give a monkeys. So how can we put our best foot forward? Because there is a reality where, unfortunately, but unfortunately, we do all the things in the summer last year. We got the depth, we got this, we got that, and these things still happen. Yeah, there's certain things we'd still be saying and whatnot, but I could say, you know what, fair enough, Arsenal, because you've controlled the controllables. We can't honestly say we've done that. Now, Mikel Arteta said the good thing with Kiwior is that he's been very reliable. Every time we need him, he's always there. He's available and he does his job. We asked him to play as a left back, right back, left full back. He's ready. He's got a smile on his face. And even now, I'm getting a bit deja vu. Admittedly, I can't remember the context as to why Kiwior played against Bayern Munich last year, but you did. There's certain things that feel like deja vu, and life is harsh like that. God is a merciful God, but he's also very mean. Not mean, God. I definitely ain't calling you mean. You're very merciful, but you get where I'm going in that. The universal God will keep making you replay certain scenarios until you take heed. First time I can forgive you for being a bit naive, returning to the chance. And I know you can't fix everything, but yeah. And Arteta, I know you're talking quite bullish about the summer. What else are you going to say? And I know it's not all just you, but I can only hold anybody at the club accountable. Same way Josh Kroenke's telling me get excited. What am I excited about? But when I see what the owner of this football club said in May, what the manager said, what the players said, if I played that video to them now, and it's not all their fault, all of that kind of luxuries, would you feel you've given everything to be in that scenario or better? We lost the league on the last day of the season, technically. We didn't. It feels like deja vu a bit. Kiwior, you've got all my faith. Do I believe you're fit for this level? No. But if I could speak to Kiwior, what I would say, and I'd say this to everyone, if you're scared, go to church or some religious temple. What's the worst that can happen to you? Yes, it's Real Madrid. You have to respect them and all of this stuff. But where was we 2-3 years ago? Some of you will never play for this. Some of you have played and won this trophy. Some of you will never play in a game of that magnitude next season, let alone ever again. Behave like that. This is what you wanted to be. Kiwior, I'm sure you had dreams when you was growing up in Poland to play maybe for Real Madrid, or play against Real Madrid. This is it. You've come through tougher times in your life. You're financially free. You're living the dream. What's the worst that could happen? And this goes for everyone. What's the worst that could happen? They say about my football club what they say every day. We say we don't rate Kiwior, God forbid, in the aftermath of Real Madrid. Well, we're saying that already. Be respectful to them. Be fearless and give it your own. Stick 2 middle fingers up in a positive way at Mikel Arteta, saying, I'm here, play me. Put yourself in the shop window if Inter Milan and this team really want you. And common sense speaking, his teammates, guide him through it. Because that's also something. We've all played Sunday League football. You know when a teammate's not good enough and whatnot. So for Arteta has to, but if you know your teammate is struggling, tuck in for him. Do certain things. We all know this. So let's see. It feels like deja vu. And I know there's actually a prospect of Partey right back and Declan Rice centre half and this and that and changing dynamics. It's a madness. And it makes you a bit excited, not in a deluded way, but it's like, you know what, it's mad. So might as well, it is what it is. Arsenal with and without Gabriel, since Gabriel's debut in September 2020. What a guy, man. Time moves fast. Goals conceded per game without is 1.2, with is 1.0, or just 1.0. Our win percent drops 20% from 64% to 44%, and our points per game is at 2.1, without him is 1.6. Now, we know how vital he is, and this stat is a nothing stat in theory, because a player that is good plays all the time for us. Obviously, there's more games we've played, let alone one with him, than not with him. So, of course, it's always going to be like that. But I hear it. Wish I could design things like that. Anyways, away from that, man, David Ornstein said, I could only see a centre-back arriving at Arsenal if there is a departure. The obvious name that springs to mind is Kivior, but we've been here before. He generates interest, especially from Italy, but so far nothing has come to fruition. Tierney and potentially Zinchenko leaving would theoretically create space to strengthen at left-back, but the presence of Calafiori and Lewis Skelly means that is by no means certain. It isn't, but I think we need one. I think Lewis Skelly naturally has done very well, but we need to be a bit cute and clever with his fitness. Calafiori, so far, you've shown me that you're a regular viewer and you're a regular season ticket holder in the physio room, unfortunately. Yes, we've got Tomiyasu. Yes, it's not guaranteed Kivior will leave. Yes, it's not even guaranteed Zinchenko will leave. Obviously, if these things don't happen, I'm here for it. I think we need a striker, we need a left winger, we need a centre mid. Now, if he was to further, I think those are essentials. I think everything is. But if he was to further ask me, I know it's ironic. It's another season where Arsenal need a left back and a centre back in it. I would like my first option would be the Tomiyasu, Timber at a push, Calafiori kinds in that, even Ben White in that. The first two names, they can cover all across the back four, let alone two positions. And maybe that's just the modern day and that's something Arteta wants, right? But I would like a one of them kind of ones. I would like two goalies. I think if you could get me a Scott Carson one, like someone that's on the downward slope in a good way, like they understand that they're third choice, ideally homegrown, the young lads go out on loan. Because what is the point of Karl Hein if he's really played well in La Liga, sitting on the bench? Go make some peas. You're never going to be Arsenal's number one in the most respectful way. I hope to be proven wrong. Go make us some peas. Tommy Setford, you're not going to play. Yes, you're going to train with the first team and travel and do all of that stuff. Go out on loan and all of them kind of ones. Get this Garcia lad if you want that. Then if you were to ask me my dream, I would like two strikers. I would love in a good way, your Gyokeres, your guy right now. I wouldn't mind the Sesko development rotationary option. Nico Williams on the left to go with Martinelli and Wanyeri and Bukayo Saka. Kai Havertz is still about. He's not going to be moved on. A centre middle too wouldn't go amiss. One that's going to be the long-term partner for Declan Rice. These are the things we need to start answering, manager, because if I'm honest with you, there's question marks over certain defenders. And if you force it, Saliba and Gabriel, because of the contract situation, and our defense has been tested like everyone in this squad, but quote unquote, our defensive ranks were kind of cool. Centre mid, we still ain't got that partner for Rice, really. We know it's Partey, but throughout the 2 years we've seen of Rice here, there's been different partners. We've been mixing and blending. There's no real competition for Odegaard, Asterix, Wanyeri. We've known about the left-hand side and we've known up front. So could you get your A-lister in Zubamendi and maybe a younger Partey protege? We've been linked with Napan, who's nothing like him, admittedly. So we'll have to see. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of moving parts, man. To a degree, you have to buy regardless. But to a degree, you have to sell before you can buy. You have to buy before you can sell. You can probably only act in certain positions if certain people go. And Berta and his team are going to be fully stretched. And when you think about it logically, it's not that I don't believe in Berta. He's just one man. His job is to soak up as much information as possible. Look at every bit of practicing Arsenal are doing, how we negotiate, our approach, all of that stuff, be a fly on the wall, and then also do what he's here to do, which is be a cold-hearted, ruthless mofo. That's the major thing I like about him. Now, I hate to refer to football as a business, but Martinelli's on 100-odd grand. Gabriel Jesus is 180. Zinchenko's on 150. Odegaard's on 240. Now, I'm not saying these players need to go, but are these players necessarily earning their keep if this was a job? So naturally, your position has to be warranted. And if more of the same happens, and if nothing changes, you need to start acting. I don't think it's a rebuild. I think it's more of a revamp. But then when you look at the numbers of players we would undoubtedly keep and want to build for next season, like the core versus people that be like, you know what, you could do a thing. We understand you're under contract and injuries might play a part. There's more players we'd let go. To which, being devil's advocate and going against my own logic, is it a bit of a rebuild? What is Berta going to have the remit to do? Probably dot I's and cross T's. The groundwork's probably done. maybe, you know, in a positive way, like we heard with him and Simeone, cause a bit of friction with Arteta. You know, you win some, he wins some. It's been described as a partnership. Let the partnership partner. But then when you break it down, Jason, listen, it's a man, but realistically, Jason Ito is going to be vital. Berta is learning English. Berta is clearly more experienced than him, but in terms of how we learn things, he's learning. You need to be his number two at least for a few months. And clearly, Berta's got his own highly rated in the sorry, Ato's clearly highly rated in the club and got his own ambitions. It is what it is, really and truly. That's just everyone's got ambitions. These players, the manager, sporting directors, everybody wants to achieve their goals, right? So everyone needs to pull from the same handshake, the same kind of list. Berta's learning English. Jason Ito can help him, and logically, the man's a director of football. He cannot be everywhere at once. He might be in Portugal dealing with Gyokeres and mad negotiations, but simultaneously at 1 p.m. he's having lunch with Gyokeres' people. Then he might be talking to Porto and seeing what they want to do with Fabio Vieira. Simultaneously, we also need to be in Spain to sort out Nico Williams and Zubamendi. And Zubamendi's running smoothly, but Sociedad are acting over some payments. Nico Williams is having second thoughts. You know, a random player, Arteta's giving him a buzz, and a random player says, I want to leave now. He's been knocked back. You know, Gabriel might be on holiday in Brazil and he's on Skype with his agent trying to get things done. Logically speaking, one man can't be everywhere. So how much can a man get done by himself, or can a man get done in a few months? I don't know, but we need to listen. We need to do about 98% of our business, innit? To the starting 11 at the minimum. If you do not have a centre mid, if you do not have a striker, and you do not have a left winger, I speak. Speaking of left wingers, David Ornstein has said Arsenal's long run in pursuit of Nico Williams based on Mikel Arteta's desire to sign him is well documented. A recruit in that position has been on the agenda for some time, and it remains the case. Clearly, it seems like Arsenal will try again, but this is a highly challenging deal to do, and therefore there is no guarantee it happens. Williams is expected to be more open to a move in the summer of 2025 than previously. Come join the revolution, start acting. And if you don't think you're going to play ahead of Trossard and Martinelli, you're moving mad. Whatever they have to say, these are the games we've got left to play. Everton away, Real Madrid at home, Brentford at home, Real Madrid away, Ipswich away, Crystal Palace at home, Bournemouth at home, Liverpool away, Newcastle at home, and Southampton away, which should be easy sailing. But any Arsenal fan who knows about a trip to St. Mary's, you know how difficult that is. And again, we're at this season. I'm not saying next season's sake for next season, because I hate being that. We be proud that we've come out of the mud from the past. I'm thankful for that. The future, we don't know what it holds, but we need to start learning to seize the present moments. Bearing in mind, Arteta, a few years ago, spoke about maximizing markets. The Cronky's the same. Was January maximized? Was summer maximized? So yeah. And imagine going to next season, as I was saying, yeah. Imagine we're still in the Premier League. We're still in the FA Cup. We just won the League Cup. You know, we're still fighting for the Premier League and the champs with a realistic chance. Asterisk Premier League champs. It is what it is, innit? We've never been that club, but that's the ambition, right? Imagine all of this stuff was on the line, and everything we've talked about in the current climate of the club is now. Next season, we can't be in that situation because no game is won on paper. Football's a weird game in that. I hope so, probably not, but we'll beat Real Madrid, get something against Brentford, probably deal with Everton, probably fuck up against Ipswich, if I'm honest with you. But that would fill you with a lot of nerves. And we need to be going into a run of fixtures like this, the last stretch of the Premier League, thinking, yeah, you know what? Over the line, we've got the mentality, we've been bruised enough. The first teamers, the Sackers, and Nico Williams, and Gyokeres in an ideal world, these guys are doing their job. If they're still here, the Martinellis, the Trossards, the Havertz, they've shown they can help shoulder the burden as well, because that's what you need. Look at Liverpool with Origi. Origi's a cult hero. I'm not dissing his thing, but if you looked at a striker and a job of the striker primarily to bag goals, he ain't got a strong record for Liverpool. But how many of a man might score 5 goals in a season? Then you might have one attacker that is the lowest scorer, has 5 goals. But how many of his goals were match-winning goals? How many of those goals came where you were just having a shit day at the office and you salvaged a win or a draw when you didn't deserve it? Or it's them ones, it's 2-2, we're not finding a way. Bearing in mind, we've missed out on a league trophy via a point or two, whatever it was last year, and he bags. This is we've seen it before. We had that with the Invincibles. We had a squad. Edu himself was a squad player. Yeah, man. Our win percentage isn't, this is a bit different, but our win percentage is 63.5%. Without Gabriel Magalhaes, it's 40.9%. But, and even that, he's played 159 appearances for our football club and only missed 22. Loyal serviceman. The current climate, It feels like some players got to be missing out there. But Gabriel Magalhaes, Ben White, Timber, Calafiori, Tomiyasu, Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, crucially at the wrong time where you got Real Madrid, the defensive ranks in it. And Arteta's going to be asked in the press conference in relation to Everton how we are with Ben White and Timber. And you'd imagine the journalists and everything, if they're doing their jobs, they make sure whatever hotel, not in a weirdo thing, but whatever hotel Arsenal are staying in and all of those kind of things, or the team bus, you need to be bloody following that, you know. You need to be following that because, again, we know Arteta's on mind games, injured players get on the bus, which I think isn't exclusive to Arteta. If I was a manager, I'd do that. So all these men are Premier League gaffers. So we can't read too much into that. But logically, if you see Ben White and Timber with the bare bones, you'd think, yo, you might be there. But yeah, it's funny because big up Jess. She's quite hopeful, Calafiori. I'm not. I actually think Timber will be about. Whether he'll be 100% is another thing, but shout out to the Spartan. I'd love to see Ben White because I know big up Timber, and I know football's not sentimental, yeah. But one, we need a squad. Even if Ben White is never going to be a regular again, we need a squad. There's game time for you here, especially in situations like that. And also that fucking man, Benjamin White, is, for someone who doesn't watch football and doesn't care about football and was absolutely slaughtered by Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville when he made his debut, and we got absolutely fucked up by Brentford when they came back to the Prem. He's put his body on the line time and time for this club. Just like I feel with Gabriel Magalhaes, I think he deserves to be there. Unfortunately, life is cruel. Some of it self-inflicted, some of it incompetence. We got 4 players ruled out for the rest of the season. Tommy, Magalhaes, Kai Havertz, and Jesus. You know what the maddest thing is? I think we see Gabriel Jesus before we see Tomiyasu. But yeah, moving on. We have heard today, or better yet, in the last few days, Arsenal started conversations with Sporting regarding the signing of Gyokeres, handle of Arsenal. To be fair, I don't endorse or condemn the ITKs, but when I praise the account, he's been right about 1-2 things. Make sure you're smashing the like button, people. Late night business. Arsenal have been granted permission from Sporting to explore personal terms with Gyokeres and his reps. Arsenal are laying out extensive groundwork on the deal as Berta wants the club to have multiple options to choose from this summer. Okay. All right, so you want to tie up a Gyokeres thing, tie up a Sesko thing, maybe deliberate, see if there's a chance of Isaac. Obviously, I'm dream chasing, but if you imagine there's just 4 strikers on the table, Arteta saying one thing, Berta saying this, they're saying that, the sub-teams are saying that, we come to a consensus and we move. Gyokeres would, I'm not against the Sesko one. Isaac would be the one, but it's not happening. Gyokeres would tell me that, okay, Berta's got his first welcome gift, and it would also tell me to the club, you're ready for right now. I do think some Arsenal fans are in this permanent trap of wanting to win now, but also consistently. And you've got to do both for the club. You've got to buy players for right now, and you've got to future-proof, find stars of tomorrow. You know, you might know that I'm exaggerating, but Lewis Skelly's going to be here for the foreseeable future. But let's just say he's 27, where you know in the next 5 years he might not be, or he might decline. Are you finding that replacement from then? So you always got to try and do that. And we're Arsenal. We make superstars. But I do think some fans are in this trap of always future-proofing and what players can be tomorrow and what we're trying to achieve. There's never going to be a perfect season. There's never going to be a perfect scenario. And football mirrors society. In life, are you truly ever ready to achieve greatness? Anyone that's achieved greatness at that moment, have they ever been ready for it? Have you ever been ready for it? I don't know. But yeah, we'd like to see that. Andrea Berta's arrival has made Gyokeres a really strong contender to join Arsenal this summer, which wasn't necessarily the case prior. The Italian rates him extremely highly, dating back to his time at Atletico Madrid, says David Ornstein. And Ed Aarons of The Guardian has said Arsenal have identified Sporting's Viktor Gyokeres as a more realistic target than Isaac, Arsenal, Nico Williams' interests, and some other stuff. But really, we're just going to see what Ornstein said about our team, because I don't think anybody cares and gives a flying monkeys about what's going on at other clubs, innit? Are the reports about Berta meeting with Nico Williams reps true? And if so, how likely is a move to Arsenal? Please don't let me down, Ornstein. I met you last week. See, when you lot hit the sub button, you get me somewhere. Like, we're getting in the platform. It's been a good start to 2025. Been on Talks Sport, met Smith Rowe, met Ornstein, got nominated for the SJ Awards. And none of these things could happen without you. We ain't achieved a damn thing yet, which sucks. But we got new. We're scratching the surface. This game is rigged. So we need to be undoubtedly good. So yeah, smash the like button and subscribe, man. The stocks are going up. Arsenal's long-running pursuit of Williams, based on Mikel Arteta's desire to sign him, is well documented. A recruit in that position has been on the agenda for some time, and it remains the case. I have no reason to doubt the reports of a meeting taking place between his agent and Berta. However, that is pretty normal, which is true, but he didn't deny it. You'd be more surprised if meetings with reps of targets were not happening. True. Clearly, it seems like Arsenal will try again. I doubt they will be alone. Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, and Liverpool are among the many clubs to have considered and or pursued him. But this is a highly challenging deal to do, and therefore is no guarantee it will happen. There is a release clause in the region of 60 million euros, in brackets 50.6 million, or if for the Americans out there, $66.3 million. And that needs to be paid in full, plus a very healthy salary. Now, clearly, Gyokeres, we hear as low as around 50, we hear as high as 100, right? But if we look at some of these signings, the only difference with Gyokeres versus Sesko is one's 26, one's 21, one's kind of ready right now, if that makes sense. But if you look at Garcia, the goalie, Zubimendi, Nico Williams, Benjamin Sesko, Gyokeres, they've all got release clauses. And I keep saying this to make sure we never forget this point. Think about it logically. We're not going, the release clauses have to be paid in full. And I'm no accountant, but these all have to go down in certain financial years, right? We've already kind of, as mad as it is, and we need to clear ranks further. And I think that was a bit of a remit last summer because we've got into a bit of a mess. We're in a healthy position. Listen, ain't none of us seen Arsenal's bank account, but we've seen from enough credible journalists now to know that, okay, the P's are there. We're strong financially. There's lengthy lay room around PSR if we do this properly. If we choose not to spend or choose to not spend big and big doesn't always have to mean 105 million Declan Rice. That could just be reflected in the outlay. That's because of the club. But I think you've got those ballpark figures because in cold hard writing, it's 50 odd million. These clubs could obviously say, hey, if you're not going to hit the release clause, F off. But that tells me, and it's not really better, it's more an Arsenal thing. Our strategy could kind of be to a slight degree, we'll pay slightly more, but let us schedule the direct debits in a way that makes sense for our accountants and how we're trying to whip this, because we're not going to activate all of those release clauses. And also you have to factor in wages, give certain man new wages, still have certain people's salaries. It's not how these business people run any business, let alone football, right? So you'd be very naive, but that is challenging. We reported some time ago that Williams is expected to be more open to a move in 2025. However, he's still only 22 and his ties to Athletic Club and their coach, Ernesto Valverde, are very strong. Not an easy one for me to call, I'm afraid. And where you look at Gyokeres, there's no guarantee you go to Arsenal. Nico Williams is wanted by everyone. Zubimendi, Real Madrid, hijacker, and all of this. We'll have to really and truly see. I mean, I spoke about this yesterday, but nonetheless, people, we know Gyokeres. Well, you know what? I'm going to do a video on this, probably come out next week. David Ornstein did say we're developing a strong interest simultaneously after, obviously, Bell was officially announced. We've gone over the meeting thing, which has been speculated by a lot of journalists in Europe. That same hand of Arsenal guy, you know, we did speak about, so check the other video. Garcia is still on the agenda. Apparently, he had his bag packed on deadline day after a verbal agreement was in place for Arsenal. Apparently, despite the move falling through, we still view him as our number one target. I mean, you had to pivot and get Neto. We're still linked with Vlahovic, as are Newcastle, Chelsea, and Manchester United. Who's this? Arsenal prioritizing move for 60 million frontman alongside La Liga deal. So La Liga duo. So this is probably, I could be wrong. But are we going to be told Gyokeres, Zubimendi, and Nico Williams as the La Liga deal duo? I keep saying deal. Who knows? Yeah, this will make a good cutout for a clip I'm going to make, people. Man United are in a tight ship in terms of PSR. So there are a lot of positives. And we are in a positive PSR stats kind of way. But it does feel like after Edu and Arteta coming in and doing well in terms of ripping up contracts and looking after resources, now it's kind of their mess. It's not all their fault in terms of certain men have been injured. But at the end of the day, these decisions you have to live or die by. You brought in Jesus, you brought in Zinchenko. Mikel Moreno, you spent 40 million on him in the last year of his deal. He's 28, he's on 150. Zinchenko's on 150. Obviously, Tierney's going, he's on 110, in which he gave him that deal and then fucked him off the next season or so, which, again, I'm not saying that, but that's what we've got. Partey's on big wages. Jorginho's still on big wages. Reece Nelson's on big wages. Fabio Vieira isn't, but every little helps. I'd imagine he's on like 50 odd, same as Kivio. You get rid of them, not saying that's the case, because not everyone can leave. That's 100 odd. That money gets put into a pot, distributed elsewhere. We get some good outgoings. And yeah, and there's even forgotten men like Lokonga and whatnot. To be fair, who's more forgotten? Tommy Asu or Lokonga? And I don't want to be disingenuous, but when you've only played 6 minutes of Premier League football, can't blame us. Arsenal have already laid plenty of groundwork for Sesko, who's on the radar of Chelsea. Apparently, Sesko's keen on a move to the Emirates and has a variable release clause currently set at 70 million, but it could rise higher based on performance-related criteria. If you ain't got 150 million, Newcastle are telling you F off. We know we want a left winger. Arteta has confirmed it will be in a big summer. Again, none of the club has said this, but in addition to a striker, they want to add a left winger, centre mid, left back, and a backup goalkeeper. Some additional cover for Saka might be found despite confidence in Wanyeri. We've gone over the Berta Williams stuff. Yeah, I mean, 200 odd euros per week. You're not taking less going to a Premier League team, probably signing a 4 or 5 year deal. It doesn't make sense for Neto and Nico Williams. Doesn't make sense for Arsenal if they're trying to entice him because he's getting paid anywhere. Yeah, Arsenal are pursuing him. Could face competition from Chelsea. I mean, everybody wants all of these players, innit? It remains to be seen whether Barcelona reignite their interest. Laporte dreams of Williams and Lamine playing together. Imagine with Rafinha and what Hansi Flick's doing. Mad thing, innit? Wonder what they do with Asu Fati, as they did so effectively when Spain won the Euros. But the La Liga title chasers' financial position makes pulling off a deal difficult. Bayern and Liverpool have also looked at Williams before. It'd be interesting to see whether the players intent on leaving Bilbao this summer, since like Zubamendi has formed a strong bond with the club. Allegedly, Cunha's divided opinion at Arsenal, which he wouldn't be the first. We've bought players that have divided opinion. Arsenal are also considering Wolverhampton Wanderers attacker Matthias Cunha, who has a release clause of 62.5 million. Another one with a release clause. Wolves are planning for a summer exit. He has previously said he wants to take the next step, and he didn't want to snake them in January fighting relegation. Give Me Sport understands that Cunha divides opinion within Arsenal's recruitment team. Berta is understood to want a more traditional number 9. Yeah, bro, like you need to be bringing in Nico Williams, Zubamendi, Gyokeres, or one of them, like, or the skill set loosely. And obviously what we need to do in the defensive line and the outgoings. If we've done all of that and there's some money to play around with and there's a couple of departures and you get decent fees, then I like Cunha. You're more than welcome. But then it's a Cunha thing. I don't want to be buying Cunha and you tell me you can't buy a left wing or a striker, because I look at it, he can play everywhere. But what would he be in Arsenal system? He'd be great to have in the squad, but what would he be? I reckon he could play in Odegaard's role, but Odegaard's not getting dropped, and that's more his thing. You can play up front, but it's one of those like with Trossard and that, it's not a 38 game season kind of plan. Like regardless, Haaland's always going to play up front type of thing. Left wing is probably where you get in. I reckon many fans would have you over Martinelli and Trossard. And it's a shame because if Martinelli and Trossard's form was out of this world, especially Martinelli because he's younger, I'm probably looking at this a lot differently. But yeah, apparently meanwhile wants some more traditional 9, which I like that. Meanwhile, a left attacker or winger is a role Arsenal want to fill with a profile that has not only offensive output but a strong defensive work ethic. That's true. The key to whether Arsenal decide to pursue Cunha will be if they feel he can diversify his game. There's also a chance Arsenal will consider Bournemouth's informed winger Semenyo, knowing the 25-year-old is a right-footed winger. And to be fair, Bournemouth play great football, progressive out from the back. But like with Arteta, Areola tells their keeper go long a lot, and Semenyo does compete for the first and seconds. For the right fee, I'm not against Semenyo for the squad. But he's being linked with Saudi Arabia, and I know you could argue every player is overpriced now, but 70 million, really? I don't blame Bournemouth. He's a key player for them. They did their due diligence, but really, I don't think we're getting Leroy Sané. He's 29-year-old, still linked with us. We've seen the Zubamendi thing. Apparently, personal terms are already verbally agreed with him, but then we hear Real Madrid are on him, and we've seen he's been close to Arsenal before, as well as Liverpool, and where that's gone. We've been linked with the Nepan guy, people who is 18. Apparently, he visited Arsenal's training ground in January, but he's taking his time before committing to his next club. He's also being linked with, I say City because Girona is City, man, really respectfully to them. Part of the City group. We know them two are leaving. Zinchenko could also be sold. Fresh links have emerged with Ajax's João Hato. It is certainly true that the Gunners considered the 19-year-old last summer, but they didn't feel he would leave Ajax and were ultimately proven correct, even though Calafiori is a similar profile to Hato. Signing another left-back who could also play centre-back is possible. Arsenal have also discussed a more specialist fullback. Milos Kerkez is appreciated, but sources feel Liverpool are the favourites to win that race. Fair. With Bournemouth prepared to sell for a fee in excess of 40 million. But like Arteta is a fan of Garcia, Arsenal want competition. I wonder how far that will go before you have to make a decision. Saka and Gabriel, top of our priority list has to be fresh deals. Unfortunately for Gabriel, he's probably our player of the season, and it probably would have been this man because you were set for an all-timer in terms of output. Is still linked with Saudi moves, people. Martinelli, It'd be interesting. But Saka, Gabriel, Martinelli, Gabriel Magalhaes, and Saliba all in the final 2 years. So we'll have to see what's going on there. If Newcastle qualify for the Champions League this season, the Isak transfer saga is a non-issue. It is. And to be fair with you, I think the moves would have been speculative at best. But if Arsenal sign a striker, Chelsea sign a striker, Liverpool sign a striker, of course, regardless of that, good players become available, you're always going to want them. But you'd imagine that move's kind of gone and eventually end up getting sold abroad, which if he does leave and he continues to achieve history at Newcastle, Bob's your uncle and you can't not be jealous. I was having this debate with my friend. Yeah, is he a better striker than Haaland? Because I think yes and no. At the art of just goal scoring, and to be fair, Haaland's just probably born in the wrong era, really. Should have been born in the early 2000s. For me, as a 29-year-old, turning 30 next week, April the 13th, booked that. But yeah, and at the aspect of goal scoring, he's cold. But so is Isak. Like, and obviously Haaland's probably the best 9 in the world, but Haaland can score goals. So can Isak. Maybe not to the rate of Haaland, but he can. Can Haaland do what Isak does? And then again, I'm a big advocate of just judging players for what they are, because I'm sure Newcastle wouldn't swap Isak for Haaland and City wouldn't swap Haaland for Isak, if that makes sense. But I'm sure you ask Newcastle fans, they rate Haaland. City, Newcastle rate Isak. I want to be Arsenal like this, man. We just like and I'm jealous of Newcastle, you know, because they've got like us, they've got a rich history. I'm sure every club, but they've got a rich history of number 9s. And I'm sure every week, probably not, but every week, there's in every Newcastle or Geordie pub, Isak be a bigger legend than Shearer, like whether it's true or not, which I don't think will be, but you get the point. You look at the strikers that have played for this football club and look who's playing up there now with the greatest of respect. Come on, man. We don't always have to try and reinvent the wheel. Hugo Ekitike seems to be agent-led. Apparently, according to Ornstein, he's not currently known to be high on Arsenal's radar. I wonder if the leaks stop with Berta coming in. His name being touted everywhere suggests that there's some heavy lifting going on from either an agent or Frankfurt. Benjamin Sesko, for what it's worth, for the 3rd consecutive season, has 18 goals, people, despite a testing year for Leipzig, where they've obviously sacked their manager and he's going to end up somewhere in the summer. Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, and Newcastle are chasing the 32.5 million rated left-sided centre-back, ironically, Ivan Ndika. Didn't we want him when he was playing in Germany? Arsenal Spurs have both held talks with Leroy Sané's reps as his contract comes to an end. We've been monitoring Zubimendi for a few years and have been attentive to his desire. Jason Ito has gone to great lengths surrounding the situation. I mean, to be fair, if you're Zubimendi, Berta might be able to change up things, but and the Real Madrid's interest is legit. You got Real Madrid on your blower. You got Arsenal. You listen. But then Real Madrid, I don't know who that you got, Perez or something. And you got Jason Ito. Who? Respectfully to Ito, everyone's got to start somewhere. But who? At least with Edu, he could do the invincible thing. Berta can do all of that thing. He's going to be like, who? On top of us being on the back foot anyways. Not only are Real Madrid in Spain, but it's fucking Real Madrid, mate. Like, you know what I mean? It's going to be a big summer, and I hope you're right about it, Gaffer. And he said he's very excited about it. We want to increase the depth of the squad, but as well, we want to increase the quality and the skills that we have that we need to go to the next step. Words are words, but that's very encouraging to me. There's a case that Arsenal's striker search is being driven by different aspects of the club. Mikel Arteta admires Isak. Berta is a fan of Viktor Gyokeres, and Edu's pre-existing department are working on Sesko. So everyone collaborate. And there's a reality. We signed Isak, he flops. Gyokeres, he flops. Sesko, he flops. Well, there isn't, but you get where I'm going for the sources of this argument. Sesko is better than expected. Isak is worse than expected. Gyokeres is so-so. My point being, it's not anything to do with these players, because you don't know me. I'm at the stage now. Get these players. We talk about the talking points later. I just need a forward. My point being, everything's a risk. There's no perfect forward. When Newcastle bought Isak, I very much doubt they were 100. Obviously, they were to spend 80 million, but I very much doubt they were 100% sure that he would bang in the Prem and all of that. But they did as much research as they could, and it worked. And it saved them a hell of a lot. Of course, he could leave at any moment. Big players are always going to be pursued, but it saved them a hell of a, well, not a hell of a lot of money, but a hell of a lot of effort, because they've won a League Cup. PSR clearly brought in to stop the likes of Newcastle breaking the traditional domino of the top 6, but they're convincing him. So, yeah, man, just get me off forward, bro. Just get me off forward. According to Defense Essential, I don't know if these are legit, Martin Zubimendi would prefer to join Real Madrid this summer, but recognize that Arsenal are making more of an effort to sign him. Okay. That's like when the gal tells you, like, the guy that she actually wants, which is Real Madrid, are not acting right. And the man that she's not sure of or don't want is doing everything, buying the flowers, date night, good morning, Empress, all of that. Now, again, many ain't said this, but who knows, man? Real Madrid, allow it. Just let us have this one, bro. You got to thank us for Ceballos. You lot was about to sell Ceballos. We brought Ceballos to Arsenal. He done his thing, went there, gave you peace for Odegaard. Allow it, man. And if you don't mind us going through, I think we've gone over this already, people. We have in it. This is just in another way, but see, I try to cover everything. Also been told they'll have to make Nico Williams one of the highest earners by default. If you're Nico Williams, right, you got Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus. They divide opinion. Saka, I need my piece. Saliba, I need my piece. Gabriel Martinelli is getting paid more than Gabriel Magalhaes, you know, let alone Kai Havertz and Jesus and this one and that one. Fucking hell. Even Mikel Merino is now. All these situations are different, and football is like life. The club should obviously, the ability and who's earning what should correlate. But like life, some of you, I'll bet, you know, big up the 9-to-5ers and the workers and everything, in it. We're all getting it how we can. There's certain managers, you're doing their job, you're better than them, but they're getting paid more. So it's not always what you deserve, it's what you hustle. But still, need to get a hand on this. Apparently, we're stunned by it. How can we? Come on, man. This is nonsense. I'm not even on this because there's no way we could be stunned by it. It's well known. If you lot want to laugh late at night, Arsenal could make a stunning move for Anthony this summer. I'm not even going to read this. You guys bad. You know what? I respect the hustle. Suraj Radia, you're shameless. Big up you for even, bro, it's shameless for even going on Photoshop or whatever I'm making this. Man said Anthony, bro. I'll eat my words if true, but come on now. Maybe the Anthony of Ajax, but this one, I don't know. Don't seem like there's anything of note here. One loss in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games. Boy, David Moise. It's difficult, isn't it? And we've gone over this already, people. I did this earlier. I did this earlier today, so check out that live stream. But up to 11 players. Now, Berta hasn't said anything, but yeah. And I want to ask you this question. Are Arsenal's contract renewals as important as the new signings this summer? I'm not going to read it, but I just wanted to know your lot's thoughts, people. Striker is a priority, but not the only priority position. They have long wanted a wide attacker winger. Midfield needs to be addressed. They're going to need 1 or 2 goalkeepers, with Neto going back and Setford potentially being loaned out. That is what David Ornstein said. Arsenal are informed on the Gyokeres situation. They have a very good relationship with his agents. Andrea Berra appreciates the player. He's also aware of the finances. This goes slightly higher than in recent days, people. 65 to 70 million euros. If Isaac is not available, he'll be part of the conversation, says Fabrizio Romano. I mean, is there something, big up Smith Rowe, is there something that we don't know in relation to the Isaac thing? I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, I wanted to get through that quick and fast, people, because it's too late to be reading stuff out to you. So yeah, let's crack on, lads. Hyper, big up yourself. Joseph, appreciate you. Season ain't over. The season's peak, but forget it, man. I big up Fam Zone TV. Shout out Dean and Just D. Big up you lot. Kivio is holding the back line for the next 2 months, bro. Just end it now. Lord, take my hamstrings. Instead, I'm not using them. You're moving mad. Big up Gabby. Big Gary, sorry, is going to be a massive loss, but Madrid won't have Tchouameni and Rudiger and Mbappe and Vinny all at risk of suspensions. No aggression, just no excuses. Just get it. You know what they're going to do, bro. Perez. Referees, I got 2 things for you. I got silver or lead is what he's going to tell this referee and federation. On top of my team being gold anyways, you either take in my left, I got some money. Here I've got a Smith & Wesson. If you think about getting certain man suspended, it's peak. Come on, you wait for man. Just suspend Rudiger and Mbappe, Ceballos. No injuries, but come on, suspensions. Big up deluded. It's no coincidence that another player gets a hamstring injury. This manager's management is horrible. Boy, I'm pouring Henny on you, go. All right, big up yourself, Cole. Drink that Henny for the dude, man. Damn deluded you, man. I cooked, rocking up to the Bernabeu of Kivio. It's peak, fam. You get it? Every season is difficult. Arsenal fans are thinking they would go through another season barely having any injuries. It's bound to happen. Players need to be rotated. They aren't robots. Exactly. Now, we could be doing the exact same things we was doing last season this year. And it just, last year we was cool. This year it's not one of those. But you have to either look after your play. Like, this is, Liverpool, it's not the same. And obviously I've seen times where it's been derailed, but you have to learn from people who have done it, innit? Like, there's many things we could learn from Liverpool, from City. We're more likely to win in the kind of Liverpool remit, in that I'm sure Liverpool fans to this day about to win another Prem in my lifetime cry about depth, but you've made it happen. So Is there something with how we look after our players that we can improve on? I don't know, people. These are all things that you wish you was either a fly on the wall at London Coley. That Aiden Heaven move looking highly responsible in hindsight. Rotation plus keeping quality in the 11. Is it a difficult balance or is it simple? It's clear it's a difficult balance, but we've got to make it happen. Everyone's had their own form of injury crisis. I think you have to take a look at your management and training methods. So many hamstring injuries that require surgery is crazy. I don't think it's even as I don't think it's more training. I just think it's more the matches and not having the players. Like, is anyone really unsellable? Everyone's got a price, and obviously with the big players in our squad, yeah, like naturally. They with the contracts, they're up for debate. But if we had to consider those remits and still quote unquote give the unsellables, no one ain't selling Timber if you support Arsenal. No one ain't selling Saliba. No one ain't selling Gabriel. No one ain't selling Wanyeri, Lewis Skelly, Saka, Declan Rice. That's probably about it. I would say Odegaard, because I don't think anyone's spending them wages on you, and we need to deal with what we need to deal with. But obviously, if you don't get back to what you're doing, you, Martinelli, we're going to be watching that. Kai Havertz, naturally. These are guys that everybody else, you can make a case for selling them. Yeah, some man are injured, some man are on big wages. This is happening, that is happening. But there's Raya wouldn't sell at this moment in time. There's very few players in that squad that you wouldn't be against it. If we were offered a decent fee, what decent fee is for Kai? Decision to make. Marino, even though he's just arrived and I'm being a bit silly with that one, decision to make. Jorginho, decision to make. Well, Jorginho, part 18, he do not count. Who else is there? Zinni, we're doing that. Trossard, we're doing that. Martinelli, decision to make. Who else is there? Tommy, decision to make. Jesus, it's been real, bro. Big up Deluded. That was the last straw. Gabriel is our most important player. Madrid are coming for us. It's Pete, bro. Big up yourself, Riley. Hey, DJB, man. My guy, man. Shout unks. Need Hatto next season. Our defense isn't as deep as we think. Just being means tested. If I'm honest. Man said Shirley Temple FC. I had one of them in time, bro. Sell Gabby for 100 mil. Buy Højlund and Hatto. Yeah, let's just address the areas we need to address first. And for me, the only thing I'm going to sell Magalhaes is if he says, I'm not signing a new deal. I want to go Saudi. I want to try a new experience in it. Short squad cost this season. 1-2 big injuries early in the season to guys who play big minutes meant others had to play more to cover for them. What does the FA Cup do for Arteta, though? Does a lot for me, bro. Just win trophies. If you can't win the Prem or the Champs, pick up the quote-unquote other league, the domestic trophies as you go. Who cares what it does for Arteta? Arteta's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Naturally, if we get onto him for not winning trophies, man will say it's just the League Cup, it's just the FA Cup, etc. And I think I can't quite call it credit in the bank, but at the very least, if we was picking up a League Cup and FA Cup, people would shut up. I don't care what it does for Arteta. That indirectly I do. Directly, I don't. I do not care if people think Arteta is the best thing since sliced bread or the worst. I have my criticism of you. You're Arsenal manager, just like some of the players I don't rate. Support. Have my complaint. It's like a family. Have my complaints about you. Either way, once you cross that field, want the best for you. Who cares about that? I care about the team. It cannot be nice for some of them at country level being here, second best in the Prem. Obviously, the champs is the champs, but ultimately we ain't got over the line there. League Cups, and let's be honest, since we won the FA Cup, it's been abysmal. Whatever way you shape, it's been abysmal. We're actually a good side. We need to show it. It creates a winning mentality. It gets some people off your back to a slight degree, because then you've got some kind of concrete evidence. And for me, you're creating history. Man United are right there where the FA Cup's concerned. We need to win. So the very fact that it's being answered like that, I mean, that question is being asked is nonsense. And one thing that annoys me is, and I don't really care how people support their club, but people want Arteta to fail just so they can say, I told you so. I'm not talking for those fans who can sit down and reason and they've got real evidence. Yeah, I believe in Arteta, but this and that, or I don't believe in him because this and that, wish him all the best. I'm not talking for those fans. There's some fans that just want to draw out Arteta. There's some fans that just want to just want Arteta to succeed and want to gas up everything and not hold him to high standards. To the point where if we won the Premier League with him any of these last 3 years, there's some fans out there. The first thing I say is, well, is Arteta won it, or I want Arteta to win the Premier League. Yeah, that's cool. That's all indirect. I want Arsenal to win, bro. So I don't know. The very fact you're asking that question shows we're in different kind of spectrums, man, and different kind of worlds, man. The players got everything to play for in the Champions League. As unlikely as it is that we go through, it's fully expect them to go for it. Just have no regrets in it. Have no regrets. Still Ajax. The funny thing is, we did sign a centre-back replacement, but he's never there. It's mad, isn't it? It's crazy. People are talking about the Madrid game, but I'm worried about the lineup against Everton. I'm worried naturally, and I just think midday kickoff, they're in good form. And maybe not statistically, but it just feels like we don't. In recent years, we haven't put our best foot forward against Everton. We know it's going to be one for first and second balls in a physical encounter, and the fans are going to be right with them. So we know what we're stepping into, man. But at this point, it is what it is. Kivio Saliba partnership for the rest of the season, where at least we got to the semis of the champs. And that's the thing. People are going to be, not saying you, but they're going to be dishonest. These things are true, but you can say it in a way where it looks a bit better than it is. Yeah, we had injuries, but despite all these injuries, heroic, we still finished second. If we get the players, if we improve the starting 11 and get depth and do this, the copium comes out. We did get to the semi-finals of the League Cup. We all know those two legs were not acceptable against Newcastle, but that's what it's going to say. FA Cup against Man United, that's the magic of the FA Cup. We weren't quite at it. If we scored a penalty in normal time and it went to pens, these things could happen. We're going to be a bit, and if we go out to Real Madrid, it is calm on the face of it, but it's not. So people are going to be disingenuous. DG, wonder what happened at the Dubai trip over training. I don't know, man. These things could happen at any time, man. Like, it was going to happen. For Gabriel Magalhaes, it happened on the pitch. For Saka, it happened on the pitch. Technically on the pitch for Kai Havertz, but in training, it's always going to happen. It's a ticking time bomb. Did the medical staff not see signs? I think the players tried their best this season. They just weren't good enough. I'm sorry, but if Tierney still doesn't play left back versus Everton, I'm blaming every injury on Arteta. Then damn. Playing with a first team of 15 was always going to bite us in the arse. We need 22 first teamers. Squad is too thin. Too many players sent on loan. Oh, Marcel, shut up about fake Arsenal fan. Boys, try men succeed. We've been boys. Let's be men and finish it. I hear that. Just look at yesterday. Everton should have had 2 reds and Liverpool still got the W. We definitely drawn that game and cried at refs. Relying on 15 players and rotating them was always going to lead to popping hamstrings. What's up, DG? Can you see Timber in centre back with MLS at left back? Everything has to be up for debate, bro. Everything. But then the thing is, yeah, I feel on the best of days, Arteta might, one thing about Arteta, and you are paid to overthink, but then you overthink too much. Life's a contradiction. I do think at sometimes, yeah, we have like we might be missing a right back, and then Partey's got to go there, and then that has a knock-on effect of what we're doing in midfield. It just feels like to fix one problem sometimes. Maybe it's because of depth. Maybe Arteta thinking too much. Maybe, I don't know. But it feels like to fix one problem, indirectly we create 3-4 sub-problems. And, you know, in theory, Timber going over, Timber doing this, Ben White doing that, Partey doing this, Rice doing this, back three this. It's going to have knock-on effects all over the gaff, mate. Arteta is always talking in his press conferences about if other teams were in our situation, I don't think they'll be able to do it like we're doing it. We're playing mind games. He failed us. And it's true. But it's true when people say, look at Chelsea, look at this, look at this. Great. I wouldn't want to be like them at this moment in time. I wouldn't even necessarily want to be like Liverpool apart from winning the league and out where City are at. But they're the teams we should be looking at because they've went the distance of what we want to go. And what does that do for them? Why are we looking elsewhere? Have we maximized our full potential? Have we got regrets or none for this season? And we have regrets. Did we do all we can on and off that field from August to May to get over the line in something? Not one person that is actually contracted to that club could tell me we have. And we know it as well. Some of you won't admit it because football's an emotional game. It's very difficult to accept stuff. And Arteta is right, but we don't want to be like other teams. If we can do things no other team does, let's put that in history, man. He bought Kivio, so he needs to hold that. He does. Tommy Ashley would have been useful. There's been numerous times we've said this, but yeah, for all your ability, the best ability you can have is availability. 6 squad players and a drop-off becomes championship level steep drop. Kivio needs to be playing football. Wasted 2.5 years of his development rotting away on the bench. He's going to get football, and then he might have to cut. Heaven was on 250 a week. He came on against us, and he was strong and did well. That's the problem with the process. Part of his prime is already gone. Can Rice play centre-back if White is not fit? Yeah, he can, but knock-on effects. Premier League should allow for bigger squads. They're going to have to. Whether that's filled up with the young players or not, I don't know. It seems as though Arteta was desperate and he didn't want to rest the best players, which you're kicking the can up the road, isn't it? You're kicking the can up the road. You know it's getting to summer. You know if you keep your fan on all day, every day for the whole of summer, at some point it's gonna break, bro. You need to turn it off now and again. Well, go on, Killy. Injuries happen, but this feels more than just poor luck or coincidence. I agree with Jess, and an investigation is needed. Man said, if you're scared, go to church. DG is different. You're a legend, bro. I really hope you make it from you deserve. Marcel, I appreciate that. If no one ain't heard that saying before, if you're scared, go to church, man. In Jamaica, I would say so. What kind of injury? So, man. Man said Setford's decent in FM. I'm hearing a rebuild again. Is Zubimendi even that guy? I'm yet to be convinced. Bro, if just get these players in and let's deal with that later, man. Tomorrow or something like. Because you would actually, at this point, Zubimendi, if you don't sign for us, I don't know what's going on. Because you'd be led to believe he's got training tomorrow. Well, but yeah, he'd be traveling to Liverpool ahead of the Everton game. We need everything to be addressed this summer. A big money striker, 2 quality midfielders, massive upgrade at left back, backup goalkeeper, even another defender or 2. That way, Arteta has nowhere to hide if he can't win. Been so many excuses for Arteta these past 2 years, rightly or wrongly. I want them excuses to be gone. It is looking bleak. BG, big up yourself. I don't believe what Arteta says anymore. I'm not expecting a miracle from Berta this summer because there's a lot to do. However, he must increase the squad depth at the very least. Insane hustle, trying, my guy, trying. Trossard replacement / Odegaard competition for Cunha. As a 10 with a double pivot behind him, but like you're saying, Odegaard is untouchable, really, in Arteta's mind. Odegaard being undroppable is baffling. The guy is not it. I don't even want to see the armband on him. I was saying I'd rather Hato over Kirkes, but a few times I've watched Hato, he looks shaky. He seems too naive and inexperienced. At least Kirkes has been doing it in the Prem for a couple of years. 2 different roles, though. Like, Hato's played a lot at left back and can play that, but he's a centre half. And you also got to remember, at his age, Saliba was still on loan. Van Dijk wasn't anything to scream and shout about. And as you know yourself, like, you're going to be shaky, innit? Like, you're going to get to be that Hato that they talk about, you're going to have those shaky moments in which do Arsenal or Liverpool ever buy him now and either tailor his development in-house or send him back on loan. This is what I said last season for me. Well, in hindsight, we should have, and we did buy him last season, probably should have been in the squad. But I said, could we put the money down and just leave him there for a year? He's got 100 appearances, which is great, but he's still only 18, 19. But then again, he'd be, it's big to say, isn't it? But he would be, Van Dijk plays left centre back, right? He'd be the in time, a figure kind of like him. But again, it's a long road. I think for Kirkes, you don't know you need a left back. Like Robertson's done well, but his days are numbered kind of thing. Every time catches up with everyone. I don't know how you lot view Tsimikas. Kirkes is also Premier League proven. Ekitike overpriced, asking for big money. Naturally, innit? Premier League's got peas. We definitely need a new captain. Might even get the best out of Odegaard with less pressure. I hear you, and you're not wrong here with the logic. But then stripping Odegaard, I'm not saying I disagree with it, but stripping Odegaard of the captaincy, whether he should have got it or not, stripping him of the captaincy, what does that really help? And in relation to the pressure, how do you play with less pressure? I'm not saying you're wrong, but how do you play with less pressure? You're on 240 grand a week. You're kind of the poster boy of the young players into the new school. You're clearly one of the trusted members of the squad. Obviously, you know, you're one of our best players on your day. You're not Saliba, you're not Gabriel Magalhaes, you're not Saka, but you are one of those. And I do think there's fair criticism on Odegaard. I'm asking them myself, but I think there's a lot of reactionary stuff. You play for Arsenal, bro. There's going to be mad pressure. People are drawing out Lewis Kelly. There's mad pressure. It happens. Armband or not, like you're still going to be one of the more high-profile players in the team. Even more so if you take the armband being devil's advocate. Because with every good performance, I'm not even saying you lot, but Arsenal fans will say it, and the pundits will. Oh, the armband has lifted him. If he obviously continues to stink up the place without the captaincy, certain comments apply, and that's on a week in, week out basis. Gyokeres in or it's Arteta out. No Sesko BS will be tolerated. Yes, renewals are crucial to secure our top players for a few seasons. Chelsea get the right striker in and they'll be dangerous. Imagine a guy like Osimhen surrounded by Palmer, Quenda, Messino, too wavy. One word, better. Big up. We need to be unpredictable in attack, especially in the 9. Jorginho signed for Botafogo. He's gone for sure. So Sosha that give them man 4 goals. Surely we can do something at the Emirates. Real Madrid judge is different. Can't be selling your defensive leader, especially when you're elite. 100 million to let go of one of the top 5 centre backs in the world for a punt at 2 kids. One of them can't even defend. Good people need to chill down. This injury crisis means the club will be forced to bolster the squad. It's going to be a massive summer, and for once, I feel safe with Bert as a director. No need to cry over spilt milk. We move. Yeah, we just have to. I think you should be allowed to cry in the same way. If we was winning, we could waffle, but crying don't do anything. We have to move on. I believe in Bert. I like the links. I like your CV. And Berta ain't got to prove nothing to me or earn anything to me. But at the same time, I think you got to earn that. You got to earn your keep. You got to earn my trust. I know no two situations are different. But Mislintat arrived to this club diamondized. Man, I never saw no diamondized things. Raul Sanye, man, didn't see the Barcelona experience links. But I need to see it. I give you luxuries in that you've just joined this club. You can't be blamed for anything, but I need to see it. I believe in what you can do. It's like hiring someone for a job. If you believe that they can handle your projects and they're the best project manager, great. But now I need to see it. And I would also widely extend that to the whole club. If we are meant to be excited and this, that, and the other, just show us. Because we're back in that territory now of talking, and the talking not physically correlating. Big up, they call me Ghostface, what a name. Never seen a man get injured like Calafiori. He'd just be chilling and do the splits for no reason. Man said sleeps for the week. Against Everton, I am not worried about muscle injuries. I'm worried about them breaking our players' legs and smashing them in the face. Heard Arteta has been putting Marino on defensive training sessions since Gabby got injured. And the thing, you know what the maddest thing is? Gabriel Magalhaes, I know he ain't scored recently, but he's one of our best goal scoring threats. Big up the Indians. Abdul, one love. Gyokeres or Sesko, who do you prefer? I'm a big Sesko fan, you know. Everybody knows this. I don't think he's as great as the tacticals make out, and I don't think he's as terrible as people make out. I'm pretty sure in the next 2 years, people will waffle about him. Asterix, if he goes Chelsea, I'll be stinks out the place. But I'd prefer Gyokeres because that would tell me the club's on win now mode. Obviously, he's 26, and when you're 30, your career is not done. But what's the point signing a 26-year-old, which is a risk? Everyone's a risk, but rightly so or wrongly, Portuguese league, can he do it? That would tell me you're on kind of delivering now. You don't want to. We are a project, and I hate project and processes. But him, you can do what Arteta do. You might not learn it here, and there'll be a little bit of tweaking. But you can do what Arteta wants from a striker off the ball. You can put the ball in the back of the net. You're experienced. You know your job. Saka is 23, 24 now. Even Saka's only 2 years younger than Gyokeres. Damn, you're ready for right now. Let's do that. You got 27-year-old Gabriel Magalhaes. You got 24-year-olds in top class players in Saka and Saliba, where Arsene Wenger used to say, once you turn 23, you're ready now. You know, you understand your job. Smash the likes if you haven't. We need to sign 5 or 6 players. I'll say 3/4 that are real starting options. 3 mainly. And then it's about marrying the squad. So you're right, man. You are probably crossing into that. Some would say 7, but do we really see 670 players arriving at the club? I'm not too sure, man. I'm not too sure. Shout out Riley again. I'm on the Twitch tab. I see you in there. It's a bit weird, man, with Twitch. Who's left centre back versus Real Madrid? It's probably Kivior, in it. Whether I believe in Kivior or not. And again, we don't know for Ben White or Timber, but Arteta's going to want to play the same way. Obviously, Kivior can't do that, but in terms of kind of mimicking it, that's probably an easier thing to quote unquote do. Whether Kivior has the ability or personnel is another thing, but him left centre back, yeah, rather than pulling Saliba over there and doing all that kind of stuff, you lot of free signings away. I promise is a comfort to a full ace. I disagree, and my personal thing is signings are only half the job. We could sign all these players and I'll be happy, but there's a lot I feel Arteta and his coaching staff have to do on a footballing field. I don't know how you do it, and it's easy for me to say, but we clearly need to learn how to break down low blocks. We've earned that territory from being a good side. Teams know we got to proper defend against Arsenal and not give them space. Got to find a way. Because if we get 10 games like that, even if you're not able to do it 6 times out of the 10, if you do it 4 times, that's 12 points on the board. In a day and age where we saw last season, we only missed out by 2 points. He does play left centre back for France. We've been 3 signings away for 2 decades, also true. 3 or 4 top quality and get options that will be here for a season or 2 and build up like that. It's impossible to bolster the squad in one window. Just need to start maximizing windows. Play Timber left centre back, right back. I'm more on that. Out of all the left field choices, I'm more on that than a lot of things. One word, Arteta. Big up Edward, man. Morning. Big up everyone that's no doubt watched this on the replay, man. Like, the grind don't stop. Can we get 100 likes? Big up you lot on the replays. Make sure you're slapping that. Real Madrid will play a mid/low block. Honestly, I don't know. I don't think they've been perfect, but I think I've seen them press very aggressively, press when they're in central areas, not press at all, little cute and clever tactical roles of individual players from Arteta, I hope Arteta, but Carlo Ancelotti. Carlo said he studied how Arsenal defend when they played City. If you studied that to take things from us in a positive sense, then you obviously must know how to hurt that. Oh, did Postecoglou cut the track, cup his ears to the Spurs fans? I hope so, because I see the Spurs fans drawing him out on social media. Remember when they got onto him after the Fulham game? Damn. I beg to be in Arsenal's position right now. I hear it, and like this is why I like Ace, because you're a real football fan. Like, yeah, but at the same time, it's what we're doing with it, because it's now 3 years, and I don't want to look back and think, right, that was a missed opportunity. Because obviously I didn't expect a title challenge in 2022-23, but it is a case you could say it was a missed opportunity. Last year was a missed opportunity. This year was a missed opportunity. And this year, we didn't put our best foot forward. This ain't been no title race or none of that. It's been Liverpool against Liverpool. Let's be honest. We've only indirectly been in a title chase if there's been that, because statistically we haven't. From what I've seen with our ability, we haven't. We've only been put into that because of the last prior 2 years. And everybody for the last 3 years, including now, going into this season, everyone is going to have probably City top, like it's always been, because we've been the best of the rest, us in the top 4, and then it's take your pick kind of thing. So I just hope we don't get a Modric masterclass. Man can't get dumped by a 40-year-old, but that 40-year-old is a bloody world-class player. I don't know, man. Just let me have no regrets. If you get beaten by the better team, there's no shame in that, but don't let it be because man are switching off, not following runners. The mistakes I saw at home at Bayern Munich last year, I don't want to see that. If Real Madrid can beat Madrid, we can too. Stay positive. I didn't say we can't, but what other teams do is irrelevant to me. And I'm not saying to be positive or negative. I can't just say be positive for the sake of it. We consider the positives if there are some, consider the negatives. We can consider how difficult it is, but we still need to get the job done. I'm not a fan of just saying be positive and be positive, because I think a lot of that, not saying you necessarily or attacking you, is rooted in copium. It's harder to look at the cold-hearted truth with what's going on at the club. So we talk about 06 and this, that, and the other. Carlo's probably been game planning for us since the title was announced. At least Real Madrid didn't buy us like Bayern, man. Remember when what's his name? Thomas Muller was like, I can't wait to play Arsenal in there. Crazy. I mean, there ain't nothing else to celebrate this season, and I would love to celebrate a lot more than this, but we have now finished above Spurs for the last 3 consecutive Prem seasons. Remember, there was a power shift. You don't need to do it for 20, man. That was my childhood, man. I remember the first time in my lifetime Spurs finished above Arsenal. That was a humbling day. Because there was, don't get twisted, throughout the Emirates years, there's been some years you've been like, right, like this might actually be the year we're playing mad, but somehow we just finessed top 4, and I'm not celebrating that, but yeah. Big up Kivio, but him against Mbappe is hard to think about. Blood, it's mad. I'm not saying don't have no confidence. I'm not saying have no confidence. At the end of the day, once you step on the pitch, they bleed just like us. Put your best foot forward. So please don't misunderstand me if it is the case, Akmal, because I've said that. But the players, obviously the fans will cheer them, or match-going fans will, but I always think the players should say fuck the fans to a degree. And I don't mean that in a disingenuous way, but there's been times where it's been easy to support these players at this football club because we've been well. There's been a time where Mikel Arteta, the coaching staff, everything around the club on the outside has been negative, and they have to stick to their things. Football fans are fickle. They loved Odegaard. They hate Odegaard today. Talking about selling him. He gets back going. They love him like they have been doing. The same with Saka. The same with Wanyeri. The same with every football club or every player. Do your jobs. You're going to war. These are your brothers. Are you ready to die for him on that football pitch? If you're not, and if you're scared, tell the manager I can't be in the match day squad. Don't go to the Bernabeu. I'm sure there's a church that's open late night around Madrid. Calafiori's boy in it. He should have been the cover for Gabby. Bro, him and Tommy, bro. They need confidence, but they got to find that internally, my boy. All we can do is cheer in it. I'm not saying once the whistle's kicked, go for it, innit? Because, yeah, Real Madrid, big bad bullies. But, bro, go for it, innit? Go for it. How much confidence would it give you, whether it's right or not, if you're Kivio and you keep Mbappe quiet? You'd think you're a decent defender, innit? If you're Saka and all these attackers and you get some change out of these big bad Madrid players, I think you're decent, innit? Don't go over there and behave like pussycats. Oh my God, Real Madrid, please don't hurt me. In the fight, the person scared of getting banged in their face gets collapsed emotion, like they tell you in Sunday League, but this is an analogy of life. Have you ever been told don't pull out of a 50-50? The one that pulls out gets collapsed. Never at any occasion in your life should you pull out. Hey man, you definitely should. Had some sleepless nights over that. Hey, I'm being silly. Burner bars are madness. I know certain man's legs feel like jelly passing the ball. Jelly, bro. And it's more than anything, it's a psychological test. Football's a psychological game, and with everything we're talking about going into the game, obviously with what Real Madrid are and what they are as an establishment, let alone them in the Champions League, let alone the air in the league, because it's what I know. We know what we're going into. A hostile, the utopia of football in excellence. Real Madrid, everything is wavy. It's going to be a nasty ground. Their players are shit houses. Their players are elite. Their managers are elite, regardless of with their form. They're the pinnacle. That is the aspiration of us as a club, or like everybody, and the players. Go and equip yourself. Show that you deserve to hang here. Because we went out against Bayern, but you didn't get embarrassed. Don't get embarrassed is all I ask. Yeah, people are boys. Oh, you lost. Oh my God, trust the process. Bring on Madrid. Big up Egal, but it's long for a minute. Like, then people are going to do that. But when people stop the banter and they have honest conversations, don't embarrass yourself. You didn't embarrass yourself last year. Don't embarrass yourself. Because you see them times we used to get our asses handed to us against Bayern Munich. God forbid we go back to that. That's beyond the obvious, and I'd rather trophies. But it's nice not to watch your team get thumped up anymore on a consistent basis to the point where you're numb by it. They probably don't have their first and second choice goalkeepers. They're also struggling defensively. We have to take advantage. So there's chinks in the armor. But if anybody by that, Real Madrid are doing what we're going to ask our boys to do, regardless of the negative, stand up tall and do this thing, innit? What do you mean by that? I don't know. This guy. I've seen players lose just in the tunnel. Yeah. We went 2-0 at the Emirates, play Harambe at Madrid. I hear that, and it sounds good, yeah. And I'm not saying it's the wrong approach. But if you do that, like, it's very unlikely. It's very unlikely across 90 minutes we keep a clean sheet in it. So can we keep a clean sheet for 180? Probably not. And I'm not saying we still couldn't go through if that was the case. But we just were talking about it's a psychological game, right? And the tunnel and the burner bar and that. Imagine they score within the first 10 minutes, which the crowd are going to be roaring them on. The players are going to be doing all of that passion merchant thing. If they make it 2-1 early doors, how are we going to react? And yeah, we want to be defensive. Oh, gosh. We want to be defensively solid, but how much of Mikel Arteta's game plan can be about clean sheet? Yes, minimizing risk, controlling situations where their players can run at us. Obviously, the transitions are going to be key. In an ideal world, you want to limit that game, yeah, to if you are to lose, I don't know, Modric's played a pass that of a world-class player that's cut like 5-10 players out. Mbappe or Vinicius have scored a scream, or they've danced past several players. You could hold your you could hold your hands up in it. That's an individual brilliance thing. That's that. Don't let it be because of silly mistakes. But regardless of that though, how much of your game plan can be factored around a clean sheet, especially with what we got now? Be one for the ages, I tell you. I mean, last time we played Madrid, we did all right. We had a couple teenagers. We had a makeshift back four. Third choice goalkeeper going to be looking like Prime De Gea at the Emirates. That Madrid devil magic is undefeated. And you know what's sad? Yeah, I think we need to take a win going to the Bernabeu. I obviously want to win both times, but if I'm nervous going into the game, and also just excited to see my team against Madrid. I'd be very scared. And I know Arsenal fans, but this is a safe place, innit? I'm talking to you lot. I'd be very scared being 2-0 up going to the Bernabeu, you know. Because again, it's a bit like how the seasons have worked out. It's the dream. The dream is free. The hustle was sold separately, and it's the pretty girl like flirting with you, innit? You got a chance. Like, play your cards right. What's going on? Can't wait for the Madrid tie. I want to see what this Arsenal team was made of, if they can take the pressure or not. Have to be 5-0 up. Saliba Madrid psychological mistake, calling it now, bookmark it. Less said that. We rebuke that, man. If you're Muslim, Christian, whatever religion, please pray to God or whatever and rebuke that. Less said that, man. And it would be a Man United fan. See the man there called the Red Devils. Can't trust them. Look what he's saying at 1:13 a.m. UK time. Less said that. Just got in from the club DG doing overtime, man. Big up yourself, Ryan. You're in the club it's Friday now, but on a Thursday. You are a whore, innit? One of them, man. Big up yourself, Ryan. You didn't pull today. Don't worry, we get him next time, soldier. Haaland and Isaac droughts, but they ended the season strong. We go again. Big up Ryan. Let me stop because he could have a misses. I'm getting him in trouble. He weren't doing that. He's playing chess. I started supporting from 07-08, so I'm kind of excited to face them. These are the kind of games I wanted us to play, and since I started supporting, that 2-0 is getting erased in 2 minutes, fam. They'll do it in the 90th minute for bad. But remember I know it's not the same, but we was 2 goals up. Pardon me, against Aston Villa in the season at the end. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just saying. I'm literally just saying. I know you don't want to hear it, but I'm just saying. Speaking of just saying, I've been talking way too much, and I'm sure you lot are bored of hearing me now. It is 1:14 a.m. in the United Kingdom. So like I say, is I'm out of it, put in the shift. I'm back tomorrow. Smash the like button, all that good stuff. You always